I'm trying to make a record. I don't see the court reporter typing. To cause the hardship, it obviously causes all of the attorneys and the defendants. Are you doing this for the YouTube?
Here's the thing. You're to be back tomorrow at 9:30.
Check out this video where a lawyer oversteps his bounds and gets schooled by the judge. In the comments below, let me know who is wrong, the judge, the lawyer, or both of them.
All right, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked everyone else. Has the acknowledgement of discovery been done? Because I don't have it in the court's file.
I have signed a few of them at this point.
All right, so has there been any new discovery?
Not to my knowledge.
All right, so you can make sure that the acknowledgement of discovery, the state actually has it in the court, has it decided in the court's file, and Odyssey is doing it on its own. So I'm gonna have y'all come back tomorrow. You're not number one on the docket. Okay. There are a couple of cases that are ahead of you, so those cases may end up going before yours. We'll just see where we are. Okay.
That's correct. Respectfully, Your Honor, Mr. Rios always appears, always waits all day. This is impacting his employment. We would ask that if we're not likely to be called tomorrow, that we be released. Additionally, I have experts for this trial that we have attempted to bring in, but we never know, and because the case is older now, when we should bring those experts in. So I'm going to have to approach the court and request additional funds for those experts if we're reset. So I would ask the court either to give us some preference tomorrow for trial, or if we can't do that, to release Mr. Rios so that he can go to work.
All right, be here exactly at 9:30, okay?
Okay, yes.
All right, I'm supposed to be here exactly at 9:30.
This is an example of a lawyer talking too much and not knowing when to stop when they're ahead. The lawyer just asked to be front-loaded. The judge front-loaded the case, gave the lawyer exactly what they wanted. This is where things get crazy, though.
Yeah. Now, Your Honor, respectfully.
When you say respectfully to a judge, it means that you're going to be rude and disrespectful.
Respectfully, our day of work ourselves, too. This is not typical of most of the courts in this county.
Oh, yeah, it is very typical.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
You can say that, Judge, but I practice in all of those courts.
And it very is typical, because every attorney that's here has a case that's set for jury trial. And this is what ends up happening. What ends up happening is I will allow people to go to civil cases to be out of county, and then their client is sitting here waiting for them. And for some reason, that's the court's fault. That's not the court's fault when attorneys are not showing up at 9 or whatever, and then they stroll in at 9:30 or 9:45. So what I'm telling you all, 9:30, see y'all at 9:30. Thank you. Coordinator will give you a reset form.
Another opportunity to shut the hell up and walk out of the room.
Understood. I'm trying to make a record. I don't see the court reporter typing.
What?
Now we're being petty.
Okay, so we only take a record in this court when the judge tells you to? The case was called.
No, the case wasn't called. When I call the case, I call it by the style of the case.
Okay.
All right. All right. So I'll see y'all at 9:30.
Judge, I have to ask you, is this a tactic on the court's part to attempt to wear out the defendant so they can't access their right to trial?
Oh.
The judge gave him a front-loaded docket spot the next morning. They're going to trial tomorrow morning. I don't know what this guy's trying to do.
I find that very inappropriate to say when there is no proof and people are just throwing things out. Now, what I can tell you, and I'm sure your client is aware, sometimes when we end up coming to court, we come to court because there are discovery issues. Sometimes when you're in court, you are in court because your attorney is late. And when I say late, I mean that when a case is scheduled in this court and it's scheduled for 9 a.m. and attorneys go to different courts because they want to go to different courts first, it is not the court's fault that you're sitting here for 12 o'clock or 1:30 or coming back over break. Number one, I have a lunch break. And there was a point in time where I would not take a lunch break. And the reason why I wouldn't take a lunch break is because I said, you know what? I've been a defense attorney. And when I was a defense attorney, what I would always do, I'm like, I have to be in like 5 courts. It would be nice if they could stagger their docket. And so sometimes I would be here, we wouldn't have a lunch break, and I would be here till 3 o'clock. And then you know what I discovered? When I would say that I want to be here till 3 o'clock, I'm working through lunch, Other attorneys, you know what they would end up doing? Then they wouldn't show up in the morning. They would just show up at 1:30 or whatever, because they're like, oh, the judge is going to stay there. So I stopped doing that because I need a lunch break. And that's what happens.
So then my other question, I guess, is if you're not doing this to cause the hardship, it obviously causes on all the attorneys and the defendants. Are you doing this for the YouTube?
Uh-oh, he just crossed the line.
Because we don't have a record, right? Except for the YouTube.
Yes, here's the thing. You're to be back tomorrow at 9:30. You
Yes.
understand?
Yes.
All right, thank you so much. And once you sign the reset form, you'll be here tomorrow. If somebody goes before you, somebody goes before you. Your counsel is well aware, or should be well aware, if he's been practicing in Bexar County,
For almost
that
20
there
years.
are a lot of cases that are on the docket for jury trial. So for example, I had approximately 40 cases down for jury trial today. And what ends up happening, sometimes people who are in custody take precedent because their cases are
I'm
older than
asking
yours.
for a record, by the
Do
way.
you understand? Because they're older than yours. So that's what happens.
Shut
So
the
then
hell
what
up.
ends up
Being, hey,
happening,
there should be a record, right?
excuse me, stop interrupting me.
Well, we're not on the
Stop
record,
interrupting me.
right? I mean, we're not in
Stop
court. There's no record.
Interrupting me.
Sir, here's your reset form at 9:30.
Man, this guy's looking
So-
to get arrested.
What ends up happening, sir, is that people who are in custody, sometimes their cases take precedent. And the reason why it takes precedent is because their cases are older and because the jail is overcrowded. Now, as you may or may not be aware, I call the docket all the time at 9 a.m. And sometimes when I call the docket at 9 a.m., defense attorneys are not here. Your attorney knows when he has not been here at 9 a.m. And then you have to wait. And you
Judge,
need
you're
to
aware
be
that every
here.
court starts at 9.
And you need to
I have
be
other
here.
cases.
This guy
And you need to be here
doesn't know
at
when to
9.
quit.
So when your attorney is somewhere at another court, you know what ends up
His face,
happening? Your
this is
attorney has
unprofessional
made the
behavior, in my
choice to have you sit here and go to another court before
Well, that's
coming
not
here.
exactly true
You
because all of
understand?
those courts got
All right,
business
good luck to
accomplished.
you.
All
Thank
of us
you.
got
Thank you,
recalled
sir.
today,
Thank you,
right,
sir.
Judge? So, I mean, what did we accomplish?
Have a nice
today?
afternoon, sir.
I mean, that's the reason I don't come to your court at 9, because I know in another court,
Sir,
something's
here's your
gonna actually
reset.
occur.
Sir.
And they're courts of exactly the same
Sir.
jurisdiction.
All right, this way, sir.
Well, I'll
Yes.
tell you what.
All right, thank you.
His client should be crapping his pants because
Hi.
they're going to be doing this case in front of this judge tomorrow.
All right, Mr. Guzman.
Yes.
All right, so before the interpreter came, and correct me if I'm wrong, your attorneys came forward to let me know that they just received a new indictment. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and so that indictment, excuse me.
The attorney's still over there
I
making
was
a
doing what the
scene.
court ordered me to do and checking on the discovery.
All right, so what ended up happening is your attorneys,
I mean, the bailiff is escorting
Alright.
him out of the room. So if he needs a favor, if he's late, he
the
needs a
way
continuance.
things have really changed, the
He
way
just burned this bridge
people
hard.
treat
Bad.
people, which I find very odd.